You believe in yourself and rock. In this video, we are going to learn about how to take user input in Python. Taking user input in Python, we are going to see in this video. Before starting the topic, I would like to request you, please subscribe the channels. And if you want if you want the content, if you want to see the content in Hindi language, please subscribe my original channel. For that name is Coder. Please visit that also with this channel. Okay. So we are going to talk about taking user input in Python. So let's start. User input in Python. I'm going to type. So you don't have to worry about anything. I'm just going to tell you everything. Just you have to keep patience and focus. For taking user input in Python, we use input method, input function. With the help of input function, we take user input in Python. But one thing you have to remember, no, I'm just going to give it note. The input you are going to take input functions. This input function is going to take string value as a default. Okay, whatever the user will enter, that will be input function will take it, assume it that it is a string. If you are going to use, if you are going to give integer value, then also it's going to assume that it's a string. If you are going to give it a float value or anything boolean value, then also it's going to assume it is it is a string. With the help of code, I am going to explain you, so you don't have to worry. Just you have to keep in mind. Just you have to listen whatever I'm going to, whatever I'm saying. That you have to just focus on that and just imagine. So this is the input. For example, suppose then if this is the problem, then how will one can resolve? How we will resolve it? So for that, we learned about typecasting. So we have to typecast int, and in int, then we have to take input, and then input. Suppose that user want to take input value, integer value. So he has to declare that before that input function, by default input function is going to take a string. If you want to take integer, then you have to do typecasting. And in the previous video, I told you typecast. What is typecasting? And I'm going to tell you here. You have to just write the name of integer, and then you have to use a parenthesis, and in that you have to put. Before that, in a typecasting video, we saw that we are using the variable name which we are typecasting, but in the but here we are taking the user inputs, so we have to put the input function, and in parenthesis with parenthesis input function here we have to print. Just I'm going to explain you with the code. Suppose that if you wanted to come on take user input in float, then you have to write float. Then in parenthesis we have to write input. Then we have to give input function. Okay. You just have to remember, for taking user input in Python, you have to use input function. And for default, by default, input function is going to take string value. And for taking the, if user want to take a integer value, then you have to explicitly assign it value integer by using typecasting. Okay. With the help of example, we are going to see. So you don't have to worry it. I'm just going to close it, and just let me close from here. I'm just going to. Here I created a user input.py. Firstly, I went on the Python tutorial and new, and then Python file. Okay. Here I'm going to take int. Okay, I'm just going to name a, and I'm going to take input. Okay, a input, and then I'm going to b is equal to input. Before that, I'm just going to write print function here, message enter a value. Okay, and this message I'm going to get, and I'm just going to copy it, Control C, and then I'm just going to print it after this. And here I'm going to print a plus b, and I'm going to show you the output. Control S, I'm saving it. I'm just going to run it. Current file running there. I'm just going to show you. You just have to focus on the cursor. Enter a value. I'm writing 2. Okay. Enter b value. I write 3. As we know that when we add 2 or 3, then our output should be 25. But here output is 23. As I told you in the previous video when I was talking about data types, I told you that we are going to learn in upcoming videos string def separately. But in a string, when we concatenate, plus is used for concatenation. When we concatenate a plus b, then if there is a string a and there is a string b, when we concatenate, then it's going to print ab. Okay, so here we entered a values 2 and b. value 3. And when printed a plus b, plus is used for concatenation. Okay, so here it's printed 2 and 3. And for the, because I told you that by default input is going to take a string value, that's why its output is 23. Its output is 23. Okay, I proved that user going input function is going to take uh, I proved that input method is by default take user input as a string. So for doing it, for making it taking as the user want, we have to do typecasting. Here I did integer because I want to take integer, and here also I will do int input. Okay, I'll just control S, and I'm just going to run the current file. Here once again I'm just going to add 2, then I'm just going to give 3, and then our output is 5. Okay, first of all it's printed integer value, then it's taken user input, we entered the user input 2, then we entered b value, then we added 3, then output is going 2 plus 3, that is 5, because here we user given the inputs as a integer. It's taken because we have explicitly decided that we are giving the value that is an integer. With this message we can give in Control C, and I'm just going to type here Control V, and just going to okay, and just let me see what's going to the result. I'm going to show something. Control X, I'm just going to show you Control F, and I'm just going to run it. I'm just going to remove it, and I'm just going to remove it also. Control S, and I'm just going to run it. Enter a value, that is I'm just going to give 3. Enter the value, I'm just going to give 5, and it's going to give us output. So if you don't want to give a message in another by using another printf method, print functions, so you can give your message in this, but you have to give your message in double quotes. Enter a value, enter b value. Okay, that's I was wanted to tell you. In today in video we learned that what is input function, taking user input in Pythons by using the input method, input functions, and input function by default takes string as an input. For making a user as specific, we have to typecast. We have to explicitly typecast. We have to explicitly told that we want integer, we want a float, we want double. This value we want. Okay. I hope you got all the points. If you have any doubts, any queries, just comment. I will just going to reply you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching the video. If any suggestion, just suggest. Any recommendation you wanted to give, just give without any hesitation.